My kicker. What my? Oh.
Siege Mentality, episode 8. I think we'll make this a tradition.
Still
Every
not
time we start
canceled!
recording, Siege will just start talking. Oh, it is Friday. We're into October. I am Duke. You can find me on Twitter at DukeDFS. He is the Siege. You can find him on Twitter at the Siege DFS. You can find our podcast handle at Siege Mentality, which is growing slowly. I haven't even done a damn thing.
By the way, where is it available? I've meant to. Someone asked me what platforms it was on, and I knew nothing.
The podcast?
Yeah.
Everywhere you can find podcasts. So I believe we're on Stitcher.
Spotify, right?
We're definitely on Spotify. We're on Podbean. Of course, you can download us at iTunes. We do have a YouTube version as well. We're getting some views over there. No bots commented this week, so the ladies have calmed down on our podcast. Probably just the guys, which is okay. But we're available everywhere you can find us, as far as I know. And if you find somewhere that you usually find podcasts and we're not on there, hit us up. We'll try to get it over there for you guys. But, Siege, happy Friday, I guess this is. How you doing, man?
You know, it's been pretty good. No complaints. Just realizing now in 3 weeks we're going to have to move the date of this podcast for a day. But other than that, feeling good.
Yeah.
I'm kind of just doing some math. And I'm like, wait a minute. Hold on. October 23rd. No. We're not.
You got a wedding or something, don't you?
No. Not the 23rd. 23rd is my day. I get to take the day off and I do fun things.
Days off. What are those like? Hey, speaking of math, this blew my mind
birthday.
today.
I'm going to go golfing. I'm going to have a few brewskis. It's going to be great.
If you had to guess what year Pablo Picasso died, what would you say?
Pablo Picasso what?
When did he die?
Oh, God. I'm going to get this so wrong.
I was off by about – well, I'll let you guess first.
Oh, God.
Famous artist.
AD?
600 AD.
I told you. I knew I was going to be way off.
Hold on. Pablo Picasso died in 1973.
I'm not an art guy. Straight up. Sorry.
I said 1600 something, and I was.
I told you. I told you I was going to be off by like 1,000. I told you. I told you straight up. I don't know shit about art.
There's things like that just pop up all the time that completely blow my mind. But anyways, hey, look, we're not here to talk about art. This is a football show.
I hope not. We were. You shouldn't listen to us.
As always, we're sponsored by EliteSportsBetting.com. That's why we can bring you guys this show for free. Everyone's been on absolute fire over there. Even I'm winning 10-5-1 on the college football show. I know, Siege, you got some F1 bets going on.
Oh, let's not talk about last race. That was
we'll ignore that.
Well, it was good. It was a great season until the last race. And to be fair, like, Lewis Hamilton, what an idiot, takes a penalty in the freaking pit lane before the race. He literally takes a penalty before the race. And I'm just sitting there like, you have to be kidding me. Like, Mercedes has never lost in Russia, ever. So all you gotta do is predict Mercedes to finish 1-2. Pretty simple. They were starting on the front two. All you had to do is not be an idiot. And then Lewis Hamilton loses his mind. And I'm like, you got to be freaking. The other Mercedes won, so it was fine. We got some of it back. And then, yeah, it was like whatever. I'm excited for Germany, though. I actually was watching 2018 Germany race last night, kind of just refresh my brain. And I've watched the 2019 one 100, like probably 20 times during COVID because it was a fantastic race where everyone lost their mind. And then I watched 2018, and I hadn't watched it in a while. And I was like, oh, my God, this race was just as insane. So we're going to have a lot of do not finish bets. I can tell you that right now.
Here's a dumb question for you. How long is an F1 race? Not like laps, just time-wise, start to finish.
2 hours, 2.5 hours, assuming there's not like a crash. They have to like shut it down for a while.
I don't know why, but I just assumed it was an all-day thing. I thought it was like, yeah. Anyways, you're the F1 king. I'm the running back king. The running back king is back. Smashed it this week.
It's like tennis. You held serve. Good job. You held serve. Like, you got Kamara. You did your job. You held serve. So, like, now I get Kamara. I get to hold serve.
Kamara, 47.7 points. Siege, total 48.6. So, close matchup there.
You know, I was just trying to be – I was going for ceiling. You know, I knew you had Kamara. Had to shoot for ceiling. It was the only way to have a chance. Didn't work out.
Here's a thing we didn't talk about, but there's no controversy. I had assumed we were doing total points, but on Friday I noticed you changed it to head-to-head. So no controversy. I'm good with head-to-head. Like you said, I think
I kind of figured we'd keep it both. You know, it's kind of like golf. You know, sometimes you got the
whatever
front,
is allowing you to win.
You got the overall.
So we'll keep it head-to-head. Of course, we're going to talk about some Thursday night football. That was a wild game on Thursday evening.
No, we're not.
But before we get
to
that,
I'm making an executive decision. We are not talking about that game.
We're certainly going to talk about it.
No, we're not.
Let's talk about last week's Siege, because both of us were on one play in particular, but you kind of had it. you're not a game of the year kind of guy, but you'd modeled it to 62. The total was 58. Cowboys Seahawks was your over of the week. 38-31 Seahawks win. 69 points, way over.
Yeah, I've started firing live bets right away. Knew I was right within 2 minutes. I was like, oh, this game's even going to go faster. I was just firing overs and overs and over. I was just firing the whole game. It was honestly kind of what saved my betting week because the rest of it was not good. So we made a bunch back on this firing overs and overs and overs in that game. And yeah, it was a great game. It was good for fantasy for me. CD Lamb getting hurt wasn't really optimal for me. But, you know, all in all, I had a ton of Tyler Lockett, more than DK Metcalf. So no complaints. It worked out perfectly fine. Although Chris Carson not getting a 1-yard rushing touchdown was slightly annoying.
We'll talk about him. I have a little note on him later. I think he's still got a huge role in this offense. I think as we get in the colder months.
It's just a sample size thing.
Yeah.
It's just a sample size. I'm not panicking. It was annoying.
Those games with the high totals are always – they're kind of nerve-wracking for me.
There's some inflated totals this week, Duke. Like I think Vegas is now finally overcompensated here.
Yep. Maybe too much. Maybe too much.
There's a couple spots that I'm just like, these totals are just too high.
Two other games I want to talk about in particular, Siege. Your Lions beat the Cardinals, and the Bears beat the Falcons. Lions, basically, defense came to play.
Cardinals, talk about a game I was totally wrong on. Jeez.
Well, Kyler Murray picked off 3 times.
Kenyon Drake couldn't get stopped. I don't understand. Just run the ball.
Is that –
I don't understand. Like, I get it. There was pressure. They were loading up the middle. Run a screen pass. Like, you ran a lot of screen passes for him last year, and this year you run none. Like, you got Hopkins. You want to give him the ball, but I mean, Cliff Kingsbury in college was a guy who had a bad game once in a while, like just a bad game plan. But I always noticed it wasn't 2 weeks in a row. Like, he would learn, make adjustments. I think we see some screen passes here against Carolina. I'm going back to Kenyon Drake one last time.
Ooh, maybe a little preview even for the running back draft. But you make a good point there. In college, you can't really afford to lose a game, let alone 2 in a row. You have to make those necessary adjustments. In the pros, I'm hoping and guessing that translates here. We got an interesting matchup the Cardinals do. But for the Lions, is this kind of the playbook moving forward? Pound Adrian Peterson, play good defense, no turnovers from Matt Stafford?
I don't know. I'm not sure how effective that's going to be most weeks, to be honest.
Yeah, can you really bank on getting 3 interceptions a game?
Yeah, that's kind of my thing. And Stafford's not a guy who's not going to make mistakes. So.
No, do you think he's maturing, though, into a quarterback who can maybe just pull the reins a little bit?
I'm small. I'm not. It's that week 1. Does everyone remember that horrible interception against the Bears that cost them the game? Mm-hmm. So, no.
Probably not, right? We've seen too much at this point. Old dog's probably not going to learn new tricks. Speaking of which, what the hell is going on in Atlanta? I'm here, so local rodeo has been absolute hilarious situation here.
Talk about another game. I basically told the guys in Circa, like, Atlanta, we're fine. Atlanta, don't, like, we're all the teams. This is the right idea. Let's do it.
Is this the one you put your foot down?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And so it's like they're up 16.
I forgot about that.
Life is great. Things are going fantastic.
I forgot about that.
You know, Gage gets a concussion, which I'm like already kind of like, that's not great. But it's like, all right, we should be fine. I'm not going to freak out. And then they have a quick hook on Trubisky for Foles. And I was like, I kind of was like immediately like, this is not what I had in the range of outcomes here because this isn't good. He threw a live bet on the Bears to cover some number. I don't know what the number was. Obviously, they won the game, so they covered whatever number it was. I was like, this is going to get a little tight. And, yeah, that's just inexcusable. I mean, up 16 in the fourth quarter, you just can't lose. You just can't lose.
I mean,
let alone cover. Like, you know, maybe you only win by 3, which would be terrible, but you still just can't lose that football game. It's a joke. How Dan Quinn has a job, I'm not quite sure. But, I mean, a lot of that was on Matt Ryan, but the play calling was terrible too. Like, again, what happened to the screen pass exactly? They're not calling holding. So that's the time you want to run the screen pass. If you can get away with holding guys as you're on your way out, like, that's kind of the dream. So why is no one running a screen pass? I'm very confused. The few I've seen have been wildly successful this year. So where'd they go?
And, you know, I was someone who's heavily invested in Mitch Trubisky, unfortunately.
Well,
on
that was
Sunday.
Mistake number 1.
Well, and I liked what it did for the rest of my roster. The idea was there because that Falcons secondary, as we saw, was vulnerable. But
Mitch Trubisky is bad at throwing footballs.
He's not great at throwing the football. And this may be the last we've seen him. Nick Foles comes in, 3 touchdowns, 20 points in the fourth quarter. He also threw a pick. Everyone's saying, like, Nick Foles is the greatest quarterback ever. Can we slow down a little bit? Like, it's the Falcons defense, and he also threw a pick. But they did come back and win the game. So
you play to win the game.
They're a DeAndre Swift dropped pass and Nick Foles saving their ass from sitting at
1-2.
1-2. So
and
the last game,
and they're one Daniel Jones smart decision away from being 0-3. All right, fine, maybe. Maybe that's a little unrealistic.
It's a little bit more of a stretch.
That's a little more of a stretch, but still, they were driving with a chance to win the game.
Well, to your point, though, I mean, I think you and I are both at least going. This Bears team is not very good.
I actually really like the Bears this week. Like, I really like the Bears this week after all that.
Ooh, we'll get to it. You sound like me with the Packers. But anyways, Kansas City spanks Baltimore. Any worries about Baltimore? I mean, this feels like the old Patriots loss that they always have somewhere in the first quarter of the season. Everyone freaks out. Brady's done. Then they end up holding the Lombardi trophy. That feels like that for the Ravens.
I'm starting to wonder if this is just a regular season team. But
really?
I'm not there yet, but I'm starting to wonder. I mean, this game plan was bad.
Yeah.
Like, you kind of just can't no-show for this game. Like, they just no-showed. Like the Pats would lose a game, but they wouldn't just completely no-show. Like, the no-show part's the part that's got me all kind of just like, eek.
20 points. One touchdown a half. Basically, Patrick Mahomes doing whatever he wanted in the first half and then shuts it down late. 4 touchdowns. Yeah, probably says more about the Chiefs and the Ravens, but I guess we'll see. We'll see how it goes. And then, of course, the biggest story of the week, you beat me in fantasy football. Let's move on to Thursday night football.
Shockingly, you want to talk what on God's green earth do you want to talk about with the Broncos and the Jets?
A couple things. Number one, I actually agree with this, but you got quite a bit of shit. You had a tweet that said, "Can someone explain to me why Jeff Driscoll was considered a better option than Rippon at any time?" I understood exactly what you meant. I don't know if people took you incorrectly or because he threw some picks that people were think Rippon's better than not better than Driscoll. What could people possibly have an issue with from your tweet? That's my question.
They don't. They just like to pretend they do.
I mean, I think look,
there's a difference between, like, Driscoll just was like deer in headlights.
Yeah.
And Rippon was not deer in headlights. It's like, that's something you should be able to figure out on a practice field. Like, when you're simulating a game or whatever, like Rippon was just out there ripping the football. And yeah, guess what? That means you're going to throw a pick or two. But Jeff Driscoll was also throwing dump down passes and then turning over the ball. At least Rippon was just like, oh, look, there's Jerry Jeudy in one-on-one coverage. I'm going to let my guy go make a play. And granted, he underthrew it a little bit, but Jerry Jeudy did Jerry Jeudy things. What? Here's the football, defensive back. I will take that from you now.
That was awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome, but that's exactly what, like, the offense is missing. And it's exactly what Jeff Driscoll will never do.
That was the other point I want to talk about, Siege, because I don't know if you watched the halftime coverage, but Steve Smith cracked me up.
Yes, I did.
Man.
I tweeted about it.
Oh, my God. He basically said, Rippon's smart. All he does is drop back, look where number 35 is, throw it over there. He completes 100% of his passes.
He's like, he can't cover anything. And then, of course, he gets a pick six later in the game.
So
it was hilarious.
Both sides of the coin. Pierre Desir, by the way, number 35. He did end up with 2 interceptions, including a pick 6, but he gives up 8 catches for 134 yards and 2 touchdowns as well. It literally looked like they were just targeting him on every play.
I mean, it was a good game plan.
And it worked.
It worked effectively.
Right? Yeah. Sam Darnold, I thought he broke his shoulder, his collarbone or something on that.
Darnold is just – look, you can't – I just don't want to talk about Sam Darnold. The Jets are a train wreck. Like, you can't – they're down like their entire team. Like, you just can't evaluate anything. There's literally nothing to talk about. They're going 0-16. They're going to have the first overall pick. Sam Darnold's going to get traded for a late second-round pick somewhere. Like, let's just move on.
We did get points.
You see their schedule? Like, there's no chance they win any of the next 5.
No, I was going to ask you later.
0-9, and once they're 0-9, they're just going to tank for Trevor. Like, done.
I was going to ask you later, but I can ask you now. How many combined wins do the Giants and Jets get this year? What's the line? Like 3.5?
Sounds about right. Let's see.
I was looking for it briefly. I didn't put too much effort into it, but couldn't find it anywhere.
Let's see. Let's look at the Jets first. As I mentioned, they're going to go 0-5 in their next 5. Dolphins is no better. Dolphins may be at home. Probably not. I kind of could see the Jets going 0-16, to be honest. There's not one game I feel great about. The home game against the Dolphins is probably their best chance. I guess maybe a December home game against the Raiders, but
They may get that one game where they get Adam Gase out, and then they get like the little
I don't think
boost.
they're going to fire him. They want to go in 16. The
Man.
Giants, I mean, they've got 2 games against the Washington football team, so they're definitely live for wins there. But that's really about it. I mean, I guess they could beat the Bengals, but the other ones, or Eagles too, I guess. They still got a game against the Eagles. They got 2 games against the Eagles, I think. So they got 4 cracks for wins, I think, but they probably get – like if you set me – like the over-under, I'd probably set it 2.
Which maybe a puke in your mouth as we talk about. Puke in your mouth pick of the week. Maybe you take the over there, but not looking good over in New York. Look, of course, we're going to break down every single game on Sunday, but before we do that, let's do our running back draft, Siege. You get the first pick this week.
Alvin Kamara, please.
Whoever has had first pick has basically run away with it. He takes Kamara, as I thought you would do. You know what? I'm going to take Zeke. And I kind of want to get a little funky with it, but I think he'll be there when it comes back around. So I'm going to stick with the guy who's been getting it done. I'll go with Aaron Jones.
Great. I'll take Dalvin Cook. Wow. Can't believe you gave me him. I was not expecting to get him. Now I have to choose between my other 2. Wow. Can't believe you did that. Merry Christmas to me.
Big decision.
Yeah.
After these next couple, it's a drop off for me.
Oh, see, I got like 2 I really like. The question is, I'm trying to decide which one you're more likely to take.
I'll take Melvin Gordon.
I'll take Kenyon Drake.
You said it. You mentioned it earlier. He does follow through.
Lord help me if he does bad one more time. But yeah.
I'll take my Jacksonville Jags.
Robinson.
Yeah, and then here's where I struggle because I have a whole bucket of people who we can look at.
I'm just really hoping you don't take my guy.
Man, CEH is right there. I think you may have been setting me up with some pre-show talk about a particular guy, so I don't know if I'm going to take him. This Cleveland backfield's a monster.
Kareem Hunt practice, so you can't just lock in Chubb anymore.
I think I'm going to take Austin Eckler.
So who did you think I was trying to get you to take pre-show? I don't remember us talking about anyone. You were like, I thought you were trying to like bait me into someone.
Oh, Jonathan Taylor. There's no way you take him. There's no way you take him.
God, please.
No way you take him.
Taking him. So there's 2 backs left I could take here. I'm going to take the Contrarian one just for some fun. I'm going to take Darrell Henderson, please.
Okay. He was in consideration.
Yeah.
There it is.
The other guy in consideration was Mike Davis. That's actually who I was going to originally take, and then I changed my mind.
Good chalk last week, Mike Davis. He got home. So Siege just got Alvin Kamara, Dalvin Cook, who I probably should have taken, Kenyon Drake, and Henderson. I have Zeke, Aaron Jones, Robinson, and Eckler. Kind of a funky 8.
Letting you get Robinson was a mistake. I should have taken Robinson.
So that was the guy. I almost took him.
I should not have let you get. I should have just taken Robinson over Drake. I leveled myself into taking Drake.
There it is. I'm up 2-1. We're going week to week. Siege, if he holds court, we'll get it back even to 2-2. But let's talk about a little. Oh, you know what? Let's start here on Sunday breakdown. Obviously, the Steelers and Titans are not going to play.
What are we going to talk about? Like they were in Tennessee. Like again, like I love the NFL as much as everyone else, but the cities that they are in compared to MLB was this was going to happen inevitably. Like, I'm not freaking out. Like,
do you think Nashville was the problem?
I love Nashville.
It's a great city.
It's a great city to party. The problem is it's a great city to party during a pandemic. Not great.
I don't even know if you saw this, Siege, but they've now scheduled the game. So they're going to move this game.
Yeah, they moved it to week 7. They moved the Ravens. Yeah, that was always the way it was going to go. It was 2
October 25th. That game against the Ravens will move the following November 1st. It's going to get messy if this keeps on happening. Yeah, I was
going to say, best ball buys. Have fun with those guys.
Yeah, right. All right, let's start here. Colts-Bears game in Chicago. Indy is a 2.5-point favorite. I mean, what do you want to say? I think the first couple games are pretty shitty.
I love the Bears in this spot. I was telling you pre-show, like there are people that like the Colts in my betting group, and I don't understand. Like, what have the Colts done to prove to us that they're a competent football team? Like, they lost to the Jaguars. They beat the Vikings, which everyone does.
And
And
the
then they
Jets.
beat the Jets. Like, I'm sorry, but they've done nothing to convince me they're good. Jonathan Taylor has been actually pretty bad. Like, I personally think he's a fumble away from losing his job for a little bit.
Wow.
There are people that disagree with that. He's been bad. He's been bad. He hasn't broken any tackles. Look, I get he's talented, but there's a reason why he didn't have any touches in week 1 before Matt got hurt. And the Colts need to start winning games, like now. Their schedule's not getting any easier. So for me, I'm just in a situation where it's just like I really can't touch this. I like the Bears here. I think Nick Foles is a quarterback upgrade. I think Allen Robinson will actually get some targets near him. I think he's a beast. I've seen nothing from the Colts secondary that makes me think they can stop anyone. So for me, like I just really like Allen Robinson this week, and I like the Bears to win this game outright. I'm not sure what the public's seeing on the Colts. I really don't.
I just sent you a DM of my breakdown. It's almost word for word what you just said there. That opened it up. I thought there'd be more of an overreaction to Nick Foles coming in, but to me, the Colts haven't shown me enough to be a road favorite by nearly a field goal. So I'm with you. I don't love the Bears. I think you like them, leaning towards love them. I'm impartial, leaning towards like them, so I'm taking the Bears and the points at home here. Nothing else really to talk about there. Let's move on to Jaguars-Bengals. Bit of a toilet bowl type game here. Obviously, I have a vested interest now with my Robinson share here. High total relative to the lack of talent on offense from either team, but Robinson's been electric. Joe Burrow, I think he's adjusting to the league a little quicker than I thought he would, especially as far as turning the ball over. Just 1 interception through 3 games. They did tie last game, but I think the Bengals get their first win here at home. I'm taking the Bengals -3.
I'm pretty indifferent on this game. This is the game where I just don't know what to think.
How do you get excited about laying points on an 0-2-1 team? Like, that's the tough part for me.
For me, it's just like I think both teams are going to have success running the football here. And to me, that just means this game is going to kind of just be very unpredictable because the game could be very slow. Both defenses could just be really bad and allow huge plays on the ground. So I'm pretty indifferent here. I think like my favorite plays are like Mixon, James Robinson, Higgins, and Boyd. But I'm just not. And Joe Burrow, I guess, is like I could see it. Like I could see how this game shoots out. It's just not on my dream list. But I do know there are sharp players that really like this game for DFS. So I get it. I do. They're cheap and they're definitely ceiling here if the Jags defense is just that horrific. So I get it. I really do.
Siege, what do you make of Joe Mixon's year thus far? Because it's been pretty average. I mean,
yeah, they did this. This happened to him last year too, so I'm not freaking out yet. But this is kind of a do or die game, so I kind of want to see what the workload is here. They paid him big money, so I think they'll kind of get. I kind of feel like every team has treated these first 3 games like the preseason, and that's the part where like these totals have been through the roof, and it's just because like I think these teams have been rotating more defensive players than they typically are. I know a point of it can be attributed to the lack of holding calls, which I suspect are eventually going to return. Like I don't think they're just going to not call holding the entire year.
Right.
So I kind of can't help but wonder the referees were kind of like, all right, we're going to give you guys a month, get your shit together. We don't want these games to be incredibly sloppy, and then kind of rein it in a little bit. So that's my biggest concern here. But again, I don't really have a strong take here.
Finally, a decent game to talk about. Browns, Cowboys.
If I have to take a pick, I'm taking the over 49.
Over 49. Look at that. Points. We love points on this show.
I kind of think both these defenses are just bad.
I'm actually going under on this next game. Browns go to Dallas. Cowboys 1-2, Browns 2-1. Finally, a decent game to talk about here. Dallas, I think, is the better team by almost any measure. Somewhat of a homecoming for Texas boy, obviously Baker Mayfield there. But it's been a backfield that's been the impact as far as I'm concerned for the Browns. Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, a good 1-2 punch here. The Dallas defense does have some serious questions, giving up 39 and 38 points in back-to-back weeks. Can they get off the field against the Cleveland Browns? That's the question for me, Siege.
Yeah, but most of Dallas's problems have been through the air. But I do still think they're not great against the run. Like, I still look at that personnel and I kind of wonder, like, can they actually stop the run?
Right.
They haven't really faced anyone yet. And they're going to face two of the better backs in the league. By the way, imagine if Kareem Hunt was still on the Chiefs.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, not good.
Oh, my God.
But, yeah, I just kind of think that Cleveland's going to try to ball control this. I don't think they want Baker Mayfield to be playing in a shootout right now. And I know Dallas is going to play really fast. They're going to try to just play as fast as they can, which is fine. I just think Cleveland's going to have a lot of time of possession in this game and just run a lot of plays. I was kind of hoping Kareem Hunt would sit because Nick Chubb would kind of just be a lock button for me. That being said, I still think in MME I'm still going to have a bunch of Nick Chubb because I could just see this being a game where they just run the ball 40, 45 times. And even if it's split, like that's a lot better than some bell cows are going to get. So for me, this is really about the Cleveland ground game and then the Dallas passing attack with Cooper and Gallup. I don't trust that Lamb's healthy at all. So I'm probably going to have to avoid him this week. It sucks because he's got some positive touchdown regression,
right.
But I mean, when he just missed that final series where Dallas needed to score, like that kind of just told me everything. Like it clearly isn't right. I don't care what you're telling me on an injury report.
Now, how about from a DFS perspective, start of the week, I was on Dak because I kind of had the same. It's 56 total.
I played like 80% game stacks this game. It was fantastic.
Yeah, but this week, I'm worried about the ball control from the Browns.
Me too.
And the Browns not getting out ahead of enough to where they have to just chuck it. And so I'm kind of moving off Dak the further along we get. I don't know about you.
I mean, it's a pretty easy. Like, if you think that Dallas gets out in front here, like it's Zeke, because I mean you can run on him too. Like you can run on him.
Mm-hmm.
It's Baker, it's Odell, it's Landry, and you run it back with Zeke.
Yeah.
Because Dallas is going to if they get a spot where they actually get in front. I don't think Mike McCarthy's good enough to just not hand the ball to Zeke 25, 30 times.
Analytics.
But as new as improved as he is, and as smart as he's been, I do think if he gets up by 2 scores, he's going to run the ball with Zeke too much. So I think that's how I would build it if you think Dallas gets out in front a ton. But I actually kind of think Cleveland's playing from in front in this game. So for me, it's really about the Cleveland ground attack.
And I'm going under the 56. Did you have a pick on this game, Siege?
Me too.
Cool. 2 unders. Let's go from my number 1 pick, Zeke, to your number 1 pick, Alvin Kamara. Playing the Lions here, going on the road, 4-point favorites, 54.5 total, another high total here.
Michael Thomas is back, I assume.
Yeah. I think he's supposed to be back. Is that confirmed? Do you know? I haven't seen.
No, I just kind of assumed he's going to be back.
Yeah, I mean, how much do you think that cuts into Kamara's workload here?
I'm not sure he's going to be 100% healthy, so I kind of assume he's going to be decoy and be like 70% of himself.
I mean, for those who haven't seen the stat, I mean, Kamara has 285 yards receiving and 3 touchdowns. Let's go with this 3 run. He's insane.
It's great.
He's insane.
As someone who took him over Zeke and best ball and Derrick Henry and Dalvin Cook this year, Alvin Kamara was one of my biggest stands this year. It's been a very good first 3 weeks.
Well, I'll tell you, Drew Brees has caught a lot of shit, even on this podcast from me, but he hasn't really been bad. Like, he has that one terrible interception.
Let's just see what the offense looks like with Michael Thomas. Let's just see what it looks like. I'm not, if he's healthy, he could do what Hopkins did and just take a ton of targets. But I think that they should just run the football. Detroit was giving up yards by the boatload on the ground. I think they should just try and run Kamara and see what happens.
We talked a little bit about Detroit earlier. We talked about potentially their game plan. It's hard to turn someone over 3 times, especially someone like Drew Brees. But again, we said it for the Bears. Let's reverse it for the Lions. If DeAndre Swift catches that ball, they're 2-1 and sitting much better. It's not my puke in the mouth pick of the week. And by the way, this is if Thomas is out. I like the Lions +4. If Thomas is confirmed in,
he's going to play.
I'm going to lean over. I'm going to lean over the 54.5.
I like the Saints -4 here. I think they win this game by a touchdown.
About 10, you said?
What?
By about 10, you said?
A touchdown.
Yeah. Oh, touchdown. Gotcha.
Yeah, I think they win by a touchdown here.
That's my thing. I don't see this getting out of hand either way. I think both teams are going to score. So I don't
think it's going to get out of hand. This is the one time where I just feel like confident, like the Saints are going to win by 7. It's a weird feeling for me. So I feel like at the end of the day, they're going to make one more play than the Lions will.
See, if old Matt Stafford returns, I could see the Saints winning by 14. Something like if he throws a pick 6 or something, but that's about it.
Patricia gets a really bad rap. He's not that bad. His game plan for Arizona was really good. I know no one was watching that game, but it was a really good game plan. He baited Kingsbury into throwing the ball a lot. It was a lot of heavy fronts, and then back it out. Like, it was a really good game plan from the Lions. And by the way, they had a good game plan week 1 for Trubisky too. If it wasn't for them being down to their 4th and 5th corners and have their 6th one be in the slot, like, I again, like, he gets a bad rap. He hasn't been as bad, I think, as people think.
You love Matt Patricia.
I think he's sneaky good. I do. He's no Brian Flores, though. I would do anything to have Brian Flores.
I tell you what, we are killing these transition seeds because let's talk about these Dolphins. Seahawks travel down south to Miami. 88 degrees is the predicted temperature at game time.
I love the Dolphins, and this is going to be really I already know my betting group is going to be all about Seattle. We kind of do like a preliminary pick sheet, and I had the Dolphins as my highest confidence, and then they all of them were like Seattle. I'm just like, your guys are paying an extra 3.5 points because of what Seattle's done at the start of the season. The Dolphins had a bad week 1 game plan against the Patriots. A bad week 1 game plan. They played really good football since the third quarter of the Patriots game all the way through the Jaguars game. They were nip and tuck in that Bills game, and we kind of saw the Bills were a really good team. Like, being able to score on them is – I mean, they kind of just let off the gas last week, but they were up a ton. They kind of like, oh, this is the Jets. And then the Rams like, no, we're not the Jets. But, again, this is a good Dolphins team. They've been putting up points. I think they're going to have success through the air again. Their numbers look weird because they were just so ahead of Jacksonville in the second half. They were just like run, punt, run, punt, run, punt. And so their numbers look a little weird. But, again, I think Seattle's going to be able to put up points. Miami knows that. They're going to have to put up points in this game. They're going to have to throw, and that's fine. Seattle's perfectly willing to give up points through the air. So, for me, it's perfect. It's a perfect situation where Miami throwing the football, spread it out wide. Gesicki, Williams, and Parker, fantastic options. And Seattle, Russell Wilson, Lockett, Metcalf on the other side. And, I kind of think I have this total at 60. So my pick here is technically the over, but if I could make 2 picks, I would also take the Dolphins plus the 6.5. I got it at 7 on Sunday, but I have no issue with 6.5.
So I'm on the over, and I was going to take Seattle. So we're both on the over there, though. So DFS-wise, do you think this will be chalky? This will be the chalkiest game?
I'm not sure. I think there's some other high totals that are going to generate some ownership, like that Dallas-Cleveland game, like that Arizona-Carolina game, like New Orleans-Detroit. I'm not sure people trust Miami yet. And I think that's because they really – like, no one's seen Miami play. Like, they saw them beat the Jags, but no one was really paying attention week 1. Week 2, they literally couldn't see them on red zone. They had those technical issues, and that was right when Miami made their run. So no one saw that either. So I kind of think the Dolphins are a team that could slip under the radar. Let me just check ownerships. I normally don't look at them until I've done more research than I normally do this time of the week. So I could have normally.
Yeah, this is a game. If it's not going to be chalk, I have extreme interest.
I think it's going to have some ownership. I don't think it's going to be unowned, but I'm not sure it's going to be chalk. Let me just pull up the wide receiver chart here. Select all, main slate. Yeah, like it's going to be decently chalky, but it's nothing crazy. I'm not projecting like 25, 30% or anything. So, and I think, like, for example, I think Preston Williams will be single digits, which is fantastic.
I like that.
Me too. I know he didn't do much against the Jags, but he didn't have to do anything against the Jags.
But, hey, very similar to our Dallas-Seattle pick last week where we were both on the over. You had that modeled at 62. You have this one at 60 here. We're both on the over, so expect points here. Love this game. Hopefully, we'll be able to watch it this week, to your point, Siege. Let's talk about the Chargers and Buccaneers. Tampa Bay, 7-point home favorite here. Low 43.5 total. My guy, Austin Eckler, what do you have, 11 catches last week?
Yeah, this is one of those spots where I kind of think the Chargers are going to keep this game closer than people think. Ronald Jones isn't that good. Chargers defense is good. No
Fournette's out.
Here.
Godwin's out.
I kind of like the Chargers plus the 7 here. I think this is a pretty good spot for the Chargers to kind of keep it close. Now, there is Herbert first road start as a rookie risk where he throws 2 picks and, you lose by 20. That is absolutely in the range of outcomes. I would not fade Tampa Bay in MME DFS formats. Mm-hmm. I would make sure I'm overweight on them. But, this really kind of feels like a slow ground control from both sides game. Don't make a big mistake and try to be the one that capitalizes on the other team's mistake. I think this is going to be a 1-score game. So if I think it's a one-score game, got to take the dog.
Very similar for me, too. I honestly thought Herbert would be more like Rippon's game last night. He'd be chucking it, 2 touchdowns, 3 picks, something like that.
Well, he should have been. They needed him like that against Carolina.
Yeah.
He's so scared to throw picks, though.
I know. He's very conservative.
You could tell he's heard all the criticism.
Don't turn it over.
Oh, he's heard all the criticism from, like, during the draft and, like, oh, he sucks. He's a turnover machine. Because there's throws I'm looking, I'm like, oh, you would have ripped that last year. And bluntly, he kind of needs to rip it a little bit more. Like, he's kind of turned into a little bit too game managery for my taste. Like, I didn't like him as a prospect, but at least, like, he could rip it. And now he kind of just, like, has kind of that, like,
he can dunk.
Daniel Jonesy aspects to it. I mean, maybe it's just, like, he's unexpected start, 1 week of practice, he comes out better, but I don't know. He's got a little gun shy. And there's no weapons there for the Chargers, too. Mike Williams is hurt. So, like, I get it. There's no down the field threat. So, I get it a little bit. But, again, this just screams like a one-score, ugly football game.
And to me, the onus is on the Bucs, 100%. They haven't beat
anybody. They have to win this game.
They have the Bears coming up, then the Packers right after that. They need to get 3-1 here.
Have to win this game.
Yeah, absolutely. But, like you, I'm also on the Chargers +7. I think it's a low-scoring game. So
yeah. If I can get 7 points in a 43 total, it's really tough to pass it.
This is a game, and we talked about a couple games like this last week. I think we'll know, like 5 minutes in, if we're on the right side.
Oh, I honestly, I'm not worried. Like, if this game shoots out, like, I just lose, take my money. Like, I'm not too worried about it.
We're not worried about the Ravens either. They travel to D.C. here.
I don't know what you do in DFS other than, like, a little bit of Lamar and Mark Andrews and Marquise Brown and GPPs, and, like, just, like, make sure, like, I figure they're going to be unowned, and you just kind of, like, play a little bit of them in case they catch 2 touchdowns, and then kind of just move on with your life, because you kind of expect this to be J.K. Dobbins is playing the second half, Gus Edwards is playing the second half. Like, I mean, Ravens by like 25. I mean, Baltimore defense is gonna be chalky, but it's easy to see why. Baltimore. Does Haskins make it through the game? I guess he does, because Kyle Allen's just pointless. You may as well roll Haskins out the whole year, and if he sucks, get into the Trevor sweepstakes. So, I mean, for me, it's really just about, just got to really hope that no one gets 2 touchdowns here. That's kind of my biggest concern.
No interest in Lamar, right?
I mean, he could put up 5 touchdowns in a half, 2 rushing and 3 passing, and you're going to need him. But I won't be going there.
Yeah. I'm actually leaning on the over on this. By the way, Ron Rivera did say, I'll cross that bridge when I get there in regards to Dwayne Haskins. He said, basically, as long as he's still improving.
He's going to coach this weekend. Apparently, like, it's Jack Del Rio.
Really? Rivera's doing that bad with this?
Yeah. I don't know. I hopefully Ron gets a strong recovery. I just kind of, like, at this point, if it's that serious, like, just step away, man.
Yeah, for sure.
But for me, I just don't see how Baltimore scores here. So just give me the Baltimore minus the 14.
Washington. Yeah, Washington implied team total under 16 points, 2 touchdowns.
It feels high.
It does. I'm garbage points.
Who scores more points, Washington or the Giants this week?
Washington. But it's close.
I have to agree, I think.
It's close. But I was going to lean the Ravens, but, man, 14 points on the road. They could win 21-3. So, I was leaning the Ravens. I just took the over here, over 45.5.
You just said they could win 21-3, and then you took the over.
They could, but they won't, because we'll get a couple late touchdowns from the –
Give me Baltimore minus the 14.
There it is.
If it gets backdoored, it gets backdoored. Whatever.
Cards, Panthers, Siege, permission to be honest here.
You don't care?
I have no idea what's going to happen in this game.
Yeah, for me, just get back to me after Hopkins – like, injury. Like, I need to know if he practices or not. Like, I did this last night on the show too. I was just like, pass. Like, I can't possibly begin to discuss this game until I know what the Hopkins status is.
Yeah, and in the Panthers, I think stink. They kind of found their feet a little bit last week, but McCaffrey's still out. Like, Murray looked human last week. We don't know about Hopkins. I have no idea.
So, like, an hour ago, the GM said ultimately DeAndre Hopkins will make the decision if he plays. Well, that kind of sounds like he's going to play.
That's kind of shitty, because then you put it on him if he sits out or not.
Yeah, but that kind of just screams like he's going to play in this.
Yeah, he's probably going to play.
Yeah, but I mean, I like Drake this week. I mean, one last try. Carolina can't stop the run at all. They've let Eckler cost 11 balls last week, as you mentioned. I kind of expect Drake to catch some this week. So give you one more crack. He was definitely he cost me $15K last week. Yeah, not great. Had him on like my best super draft team that finished like 7th, and he had like 10 points with a 1.6 multiplier. I'm like, really? Couldn't caught like 3 more balls. It was brutal. Love super draft. Love it. But the beats, like with the multipliers, whew,
it's
like,
another
like I thought I had lost a lot of money on that Dak pick because it wasn't just -1, it was like -1.4, and I was like, you gotta be kidding me. But it's like great when you're getting the multiplier points going up, but when they get the negatives, you're just like, oh, it's just like the knife just sticks in a little deeper, but it's so much fun.
Well, I'm taking the Cards -3.5. I had them at -6 before the game last weekend, so I still think there's value on that side. So
you took the Cardinals -6?
No, I had this game as Cards -6.
Oh, me too. Yeah, I think that they will be on all of our team's picks. I think that was the only consensus pick we had. I agree. I think Cardinals win.
Not a lot of bad weather either. That game's sunny and 68 there. Vikings, Texans. Actually, I'm excited to watch this game, even though it's 0-6, because I think both these teams are just. Hey, by the way, my boy Justin Jefferson finally went off. They let him out of the cage. 7 receptions, 175 yards, and a touchdown.
Too bad that Dalvin Cook is going to absolutely eat against this Texans defense. I cannot believe he made it back to me in the running back battle draft.
I'm kind of hedging. I have him in fantasy in our staff league, so I'm
you mean the staff league where you lost me last week? That one?
And 2-1. 2-1, not doing too bad here, but better than both of these teams sitting at 0-3. My problem with the Vikings is Kirk Cousins wasn't terrible. Dalvin Cook had a hell of a game. They still lost.
That's because their defense is terrible. And Deshaun Watson, Will Fuller, Randall Cobb in fantastic spots this week. Dalvin Cook's going to get whatever he wants against this team. The question is just simply how many plays does this game run? Like Dalvin Cook's going to get 100 and a touchdown in this spot. So the real question is just like how much more above hit does he get? I think he could do really well in this spot. So this is a game I'm excited to watch, a game I'm excited to have some DFS exposure to. This is one I probably will just try to match the field on. I'm guessing that's going to be around 10 to 15%. Yeah, that's what it looks like. Dax looks like Deshaun's at 10%. So probably somewhere between 10 and 15% of this game in MME. So yeah, I'm going to just try to be a little overweight, but nothing crazy. It's a high total, but I can see how this one blows up in your face.
Yeah.
Too. So like that's the other concern is like the blow up risk is clear. Let's just like Minnesota controls the clock. Houston's just that bad. But we saw it against Pittsburgh. Like they can play well when they're healthy. So I kind of like them this week. So I think I'm going to take Houston -4. But if you wanted to take the over, I'd understand it.
I'm on the over. And I'm excited to see this because the Texans have played the Chiefs, the Ravens, and the Steelers. And if the Vikings aren't great, then this is their first chance to really have a go. If they don't, let's say the Vikings win this game. What are we doing with the Texans moving forward?
I mean, it depends how it looks.
Yeah, that's true. If it's a
Not
shootout,
great.
let's say it's over and the Texans lose.
The Houston defense is terrible. They'll be like just keep playing Houston in shootout spots.
Really not a ton you can do with a shitty defense in season either. So tough. Okay, I'm on the over. You're official. You said you're probably leaning Texans -4.
Yeah.
Justin Jefferson, I think he's going to have weeks like this, but he's not going to be consistent. I could be wrong.
Over on this week. Just got to hope he doesn't do it back-to-back weeks.
Yeah. Okay. Moving into the 4:00 games here. Giants, who we've ridiculed already on this podcast.
I love the Rams in this spot by a million. I think they're going to run, play action over the top, touchdown, or down to the 1, run. I just think that the Rams are going to do whatever they want in this game. It's a really great spot for Darrell Henderson because the other backup running back in Malcolm Brown is dealing with a finger injury. So they're not going to abuse him in a game where like they're a huge favorite here. Just got to make sure that Akers is still out. But again, similar situation, even if Akers was the play, which I don't think he is, they're not going to abuse him either because coming off of a ribs injury.
Right.
Perfect spot to give the second-year guy extra reps here in the zone blocking scheme. Last week, by the way, in a game where they had like completely terrible game script, like averaged 5.7 yards a carry, 20 attempts, 114 yards, and a touchdown. Like, he's been fantastic. Last 2 weeks, 32, 195, and 2 on 6 yards a carry. Like, people forget, like, You know why Antonio Gibson never had a carry at Memphis? Darrell Henderson was there. And Tony Pollard was there. Like,
how about that backfield?
Darrell Henderson is like running back Memphis. Like, just pile him up.
Yep.
I just think this is a no-brainer home run, breaks the slate spot. Look, if they run play action and Goff gets 3 touchdowns, I lose. So be it. But the spot for Darrell Henderson's good, and I'm just going to run it out.
Nope. This is my puke in your mouth pick of the week because this makes absolutely no sense. This line should be 22. Giants.
It's not going to be a 22-point spread in the NFL.
Wasn't there one last year? I thought there was
the highest total was like Jaguars and Denver when Peyton Manning was there, and the Jaguars covered barely. It was like 26, I think, and like they won by like they covered by like 2 points or something.
I mean, for me, there's just no way. Even though I already said I think Washington scores more points than the Giants. The Giants look so bad.
They're awful. Don't overthink this.
Me overthinking it's like the house I just bought, I'm gonna mortgage that again, and I'm gonna put all of that on the Rams because they're definitely gonna cover this. And then I'm going, well, why isn't the line moving more?
Because the sharp bettors, the same ones that thought, you know what's a good idea? Let's bet on the Giants plus 3.5 against the 49ers.
Yeah.
And I'm not taking a shot at anyone within the Elite Fantasy Company.
Mm-hmm.
No. I'm speaking. I understand, like, the Giants were – I understand the 49ers were so injured. Like, if the Giants were ever going to show up, that was the spot to show up. I got it. But then some of those people decided that the New York Jets were a great football team to bet on as well. Why? You work hard for your money. Why are you betting on the Jets? Why?
It's so hard to back a shitty football team. But then the Panthers won outright last week.
The Broncos, like, people bet on the Jets this week. They bet on the Jets.
Real American dollars. And I'm going to put money on the Giants. This is why we have a puke in your mouth.
Plus 13. Stop it. You just have to mortgage your house on the Rams.
I was going to, but then you have one of these like
cover the spread by like 20 points. They're going to win by 4 touchdowns. Stop overthinking this.
You want to do? We'll bet this game. How about that?
Oh, I get to take the Rams minus 13?
No vig. Yep, you get Rams minus 13.
All right.
We'll give you a shot. I'm gonna eat you out of house and home and keep betting against the Bills. So I'll give you that one.
Ugh,
I can't believe I just bet on my puke in my mouth.
Excellent. That's a solid way to make $20 back. Excellent.
All right, Pats Chiefs game of the week alert. Gut check time for the Pats. Obviously, I'll let you take it away, Siege.
This game's gonna suck. Like, hot take. This game's gonna suck.
Tell me more. It's a 53 total. Chiefs are 7-point favorites.
Run. Play action. Run. And if they're down 10, you know what they're gonna do? They're gonna run. Like, they're gonna do everything the Ravens did last week. Cam Newton's not gonna win a shootout. Sorry, against like Patrick Mahomes. It's not gonna happen. Like, they only started throwing the ball against Seattle when they were down 2+ scores. I think the Pats are going to be able to ball control here. I think they get James White a touchdown for obvious reasons. But other than that, like, the James White touchdown prop is my bet in this game.
Ooh.
I don't know what the number is. I don't even know if it's out yet. James White's going to get a touchdown here.
He's back this week?
Yeah, he's been practicing. So they're going to get him a touchdown. So I like the James White touchdown prop. But other than that, I think this is run, and it's going to be about a 7 to 10 point game. So, I mean, that leans Chiefs, but my official play is James White touchdown prop at whatever number it is.
I think that's the only way they stay in this game is to do that. I'm with you, man.
They've done a good job with Mahomes scheming him in the past. Like, I'm not saying the defense can't stop him. I'm not expecting it, but the best way to keep Mahomes from scoring is to run.
Keep him off the field. I have the over in this game. If I was going to lean aside, I'd definitely take the Chiefs. I guess we're kind of on the same thing there. So, no, you probably like the under then, no?
I don't have a strong take. Run.
Yeah.
Run. I mean, Kansas City's been really bad against the run. They could just continue to be really bad against them.
I took Giants plus 13. Jesus. I got to reevaluate my life here. I'll take the over there. Raiders, 3-point favorite heading to Las Vegas in that beautiful new Roomba that they built out there in the desert. Raiders are 2-1. I'm not saying I mentioned it last week. I don't think Derek Carr's great, but he's been better than I thought he was going to be. 24-32, 261, 2 touchdowns, 119 QB rating, which doesn't mean a ton, but Cam Newton, who we just talked about, was at 73.8. They lose that game to the Pats, but I did see a little something from the Raiders. I think the Bills jump out early, but Raiders keep it interesting. I got the Raiders +3.
I wish I knew how healthy Jacobs and Waller were. Waller was clearly limited last.
He's like a decoy. He didn't do damn thing.
Yeah, because he's hurt. I just don't know how much. I don't know where he's at. And I'm starting to see this move in spots to 3.5. That's a little concerning to me. I thought this was a pretty stable 3, and that just kind of makes me like the only reason this number would move is if the Vegas injuries are worse than people think. I'm officially making this game a pass. I just can't, without in good conscience, tell you what to do when I don't know what the injury situation is. Like if they were healthy, I would like the Vegas side here, but I mean I've been against the Bills all season, and this is the one spot I'm not really confident in. This kind of feels like the fake letdown spot where it's like, oh, they're going on the road to Vegas, kind of tricky here, and then it's like, well, no, they're completely injury depleted. Like this isn't really the spot. That's kind of my feel on it. But I don't really want to just have been like, Buffalo's terrible, and then just be like, oh, look, Buffalo's terrible. They can't beat a injured Vegas team. So I'm just passing here.
I'll tell you where you could get some value. Oh, no, I don't know about value, but you can take a shot here. The Bills being a first-half team, up 21-3 on the Jets, up 17-10 on the Dolphins, up 21-3 on the Rams. And then I don't know what it is, complacency, regression, just seem to fall off a little bit and keep these games closer than they should be. I think the Bills are a wagon. Josh Allen's looked great. It's got a sneaky feeling about the Raiders here. It could be falling for the trap like you just talked about, Seed, the letdown
if they're
coming.
Healthy, I like the Raiders. I just don't know if they're healthy.
Yeah. All right, that's it for most of the games on Sunday. We do have Sunday Night Football. Eagles, 49ers. George Kittle is back. Eagles are washed up. I got Seattle, San Francisco -7.
I don't know. Whatever. San Fran -7, sure. I don't know. This game's going to suck.
So are you going to play you going to do a showdown here? 49ers, Eagles?
Hopefully I've won $1 million and I can just sit back, relax, enjoy a nice brewski, and talk about what I'm going to spend my money on.
I was going to say the only reason I would play this game is if I had an absolutely horrendous afternoon in the rest and I'm trying to chase and get it back. Otherwise, I'll be counting my money and moving on to next week.
Jeff Wilson touchdown prop is probably the only thing I like in this spot.
There you go. You got a couple running back props out of my boy Siege. Anything else you want to talk about, Siege, before we let these folks get out of here?
No, I think that's good.
There it is. For Siege, I am Duke. That's it for us. Subscribe if you haven't already. Appreciate you guys listening. Like Siege said at the start, if you're trying to listen to podcasts somewhere and you haven't seen us yet, let us know. We'll get it over there. You can find us on iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher, of course, on YouTube if you want to see our ugly mugs. That's it for this week. We'll be back same time next week. Good luck this weekend. Adios.